Welcome back to another episode of The Exchange presented by WynnBet. I am Nick Mangold, your co-host, along with my good buddy Mark Sanchez. How are we doing today?
Excellent, buddy. Ready to rock.
Love it. So for today's guest, he's a big nickname guy.
Clue.
I think a little hint. So I was thinking about it, and I'm a nickname person myself just because I suck at remembering people's real names. So I have to make up nicknames for people to remind myself. So I wanted to go through some of the nicknames through playing career, for maybe yourself, or maybe you've given to somebody or someone that you remember. Are there any memorable nicknames out there that you can think of? The one I'm going to hit you with real quick, just because you're going to chuckle, Pork Chop.
That was you?
No, that wasn't me.
Oh.
You idiot. You already
Who was that?
See, I don't remember his real name. So hopefully he doesn't watch
it was
this.
One of your friends.
No, it was one of the offensive linemen, Pork Chop. It was with Bill.
With us?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. He was, you know what? Maybe that was 2008. Maybe that was pre-you.
Yeah, that was before me, dude. There was no Pork Chop. I would remember that.
Yeah, no, I think you were definitely there for Pork Chop.
Not Caleb Slaughterhauser.
Slaughterhusen?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got?
Austin Howard? It wasn't Austin.
No, that's Big Sensi.
He's going to kill us.
Everyone's going to kill us on this one. What do you got? You got any of them?
Well, I loved how you used to call Kevin O'Connell, now the head coach of the Vikings and former quarterback in our QB room, Jerry O'Connell. Because he kind of looks like him.
He kind of does.
And Jerry O'Connell is on, not The View, what's The Talk on CBS.
Is he?
And so every time I see him, they do have a similar like facial structure. I mean,
thank you.
They're not that close. It's not like.
But it wasn't a derogatory.
A doppelganger.
Nickname. It wasn't a derogatory.
No. It wasn't derogatory. But then you just started calling him Jerry, and so even like, okay, recently we're on the phone, and you're like, "Hey, have you talked to Jerry recently?" And I was like, Jerry, like trying to go through my head. Immediately, I'm obviously like, Tom and Jerry? No, because I'm a child. Jerry Seinfeld? No, because I don't know him. You're like, O'Connell. I was like, oh, right.
Oh, right, that guy.
So that one was good. Austin Howard, we said Big Sensi because he would get all sensitive, which is messed up.
And he was really big.
McElroy. We thought he looked like the Wendy's mascot, the girl with the pigtails for a while, with the freckles. So we tried to get Wendy's to stick, but it never really stuck.
No, the other one.
The easy ones for me were, Sanchez. People started with like franchise and doing Sanchez. I thought that one sounded better. I think early on people were like franchise, and it just never really.
Mine for you obviously is Uncle Mark.
Yeah, well. I get that one. I get Tío, which is in Spanish uncle.
And then don't forget the fact that you have your whole family business side is all entourage.
That's right.
I got to go. Yeah. Nick, who was E? E is
that was Nick. No, E's the agent.
Yeah. E was Nick.
Yeah. So Nick was E, and then the brother is Drama, which was Brandon, who never was really drama, which made it even funnier. Like the calf implants and like all that stuff, like just silly stuff. I'm trying to think. So PT, Patrick Turner, remember the receiver PT? We had? But he used to call me Sanchacho for like muchacho and Sanchez.
I never had the only one I never really had a big nickname. The only one I got was from high school, which is Gold. Just shortened man to Gold. That was easy.
That's fine.
But after that,
I'm good with that.
I didn't really get a fun nickname.
Maybe there's an opportunity there for you.
That I know of.
What did they call it? Velveeta? Remember Velveeta cheese? Liquid Gold?
Liquid Gold.
Could be you, dude.
You had Tone Time.
We didn't really have one for Braylon. He just has a cool name. It was just Braylon.
Yeah. trying to think else.
Plaxico. I mean, a lot of short names, a lot of abbreviations.
Right. Like you weren't with him, but Fitzmagic. That was always a fun one.
Ooh, that's cool. You
That was
guys
a
said
good one.
that to him?
Oh yeah.
That's
I was
dope.
like, can we get a
I
little
like that.
Fitzmagic here? Let's go.
I like it. I like it.
Trying to think of other. I mean, there was plenty of them, but it's funny because like I don't know. It's one of those things like especially for rookies coming in, young guy, offensive line. Like it was whatever popped in. It was like that was what went with it.
Isn't
Like
it wild? Because you're just kind of like branded. Like,
yeah,
and some of them are good, and you can like turn that into something. Like it gives you a little momentum to become that nickname. And some of them just suck. And then it's just like you're just held under this dark cloud of this sad nickname, and you can't break out of this prison.
What gets me is every once in a while, like I'll just be scrolling through my contacts looking for somebody, and I'll see that nickname in there. The funniest one recently. So, do you remember Vladimir Dukas?
Yeah, Vlad.
Yes, Vlad.
Oh no,
Haitian descent.
We couldn't really do the initials. Like if you have crappy initials, you can't do VD.
No,
that's not a good one.
But in my phone, he's the Black Russian. Like that was, I was so shocked by Vladimir. I was like, he's from Haiti. I'm like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. A Russian name.
It'd have been better if it was with a W though. Pronounced Vladimir.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. I think we've gone off the rails.
We got our guest. Sorry, we're off the rails here.
Yes. Let's bring it in. Our guest, I mean, he is infamous, I would say. And I'm excited to talk to him. Longtime NFL insider, broadcaster, you name it. He's done it with the NFL. Chris Berman. I'm excited to talk to him, chat him up a little bit.
NFL prime time.
Prime time. All right, let's bring him in.
Oh man, this is a big one for me, Nick. I know we're just young pups in this broadcasting thing, but this guy we're bringing in needs no introduction. The Mount Rushmore of anchors, built ESPN, the face of ESPN. Golly, one of the all-time greats, Chris Berman. Thank you so much for taking the time, and a huge Jets fan. We love you. Thanks for doing this.
Mark, Nick, good to be with you guys. Happy holiday whenever we're running it. Happy New Year. And about the green on, not only the holidays, it's Jets green, right?
There we go.
Perfect.
There we go. I love it. I was talking with, before you came on, we're going to get into these nicknames, but Kevin back Nagandi. And he was singing your praises. And I just said, I my 2 years at ESPN, I never even ran into Berman, dude. Like, I don't know what to say. I'm fired up. Like, I don't want to fan out too much because, I'm really enjoying the broadcasting deal, but this is pretty cool. Explain. Oh, God, I just got to know how it started. Like, give me one of your favorite stories of just the origin story with ESPN. And did you ever see it going where it went? Because that thing, I mean, absolutely took off into a different stratosphere.
Well, thanks for the accolades, Mount Rushmore. Yeah, I don't know that my face should be chiseled anywhere, but so I was 24 when ESPN started. It was 1979. I was hired 1 month in. I'd been on TV 3 months in Hartford. I'd done radio before. So to answer your question quickly, and then I'll go back without burning up too much time, which I could do with the best of them. No, at 24, 25, 26, we were rebels without a clue, Mark. I like to say we were the Mercury astronauts, which were the first ones. We just hoped to land in the ocean when we orbited once or twice. Okay. So, the ocean, not on hard land. To put it back, which is you guys are even too young to really not understand, but live it. So 79, 80, 81, 82, early 80s, cable TV. Is this going to make it? Back then it was, I have an antenna. I get 5 stations. Why would I spend $20 a month? $20. Doesn't that sound good with what we pay now? $20 a month for this box that gets us 36 channels where I got to sleep, I got to eat, I got to go to work. There are no tape machines, how can I watch 36 channels at once? So will cable TV make it? So we were part of that. I did think, which sounds revisionist history, but it's not, that it was a good idea for a channel to have sports on all the time, because what we quickly learned, and by the way, I did the 2:30 a.m. Sports Center my first 4 years. So.
That's a friends and family affair, dude.
Well,
Ain't nobody watching.
Hey, West Coast, I was big in the bars, okay? But I got to realize that. My point is, okay, so if you're East Coast and you're coming home, maybe 2 is a little late to be up, but if you're West Coast, you don't have to be you could be working, or you're working a 2 shift, or I get letters from fathers feeding babies in Iowa at 2 a.m. I went, why would they get up at 2? Thank God you're on. In other words, you quickly learn that not everybody's 9 to 5 and lives in the East, which we knew anyway. So it wasn't, did we think we'd be this? No. God, no. So cable in the 80s went like this. So by the late 80s, which ESPN got the NFL in 87, and we started prime time. So that's only 8 years in. The growth from 79, 80 to even 87 was unbelievable. When we got the NFL, and I'll finish, even though we're only 8 years in, okay, we've landed on the moon.
Yeah, we landed on something, yeah.
Theory.
Big fish.
But it was, you know, I have many funny stories another time about our early couple of years. It was, we were out there, okay?
I love it. I'm sorry. Okay, that was off script. Our first question is supposed to be about Joe Namath, the Jets, and what they mean to you. How did that fandom start? Obviously, growing up in New York, that was an easy fit there. But you know, Joe Namath going to that game, Super Bowl III, I think, with your dad, witnessing history. Explain those memories, whatever you remember from that game and that time period in your Jets fandom.
Well, you can go off script. It doesn't matter. Look, this is, I hosted NFL drafts for 12 hours. I mean, we can come up. We even had to come up with something for both of you guys. So, it's factual or not, it didn't matter. It's 15 minutes a pick. Come up with something. So, it's a nice story, really. We grew up in Westchester, which to Shea Stadium is not that far. And in 1964, when the Jets moved to Shea Stadium, when it was built, I was 9, my brother was 7. Dad, not an unbelievably huge sports fan, but enjoyed the experience with his young boys. And we didn't know the difference in New York Giants, New York Jets, AFL, NFL. I mean, we're 9 years old, right? Or 7. I'm going to buy, my dad, season tickets to the Jets. There were box seats, but in the upper deck, but like the 3rd row or 5th row. So little did we know that as I was growing up, you know, junior high, high school, I was really watching semi-coaches film with the AFL, which was passing. I'm jumping around. Right. You know, not only Joe, but John Hadel and Darryl LaMonica and George Blanda threw it. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I'm leaving a couple out, but Lenny Dawson threw. But at any rate, so they're $8 a ticket, right? So we went to the games. Joe signed in 65. They won the Super Bowl in 68. We were at the championship game, cold. Shea, upper deck, the planes, you could touch them landing at LaGuardia. Windy. Anybody that walked past the portal, the hat blew off, you know, gentlemen's hats. So I was 8th grade and my brother Andy was 6th grade. We were at that game, the bomb to Maynard, the touchdown to Maynard, the lateral Ralph Baker picked up, and then forgotten. Oakland had the ball one more time, and Verlin Biggs had a big sack, and the Jets ran away to the Super Bowl. So we watched that. And, I mean, it was in our blood. And, of course, then they won the Super Bowl, and it was kind of a formal-ish prep school, but I wore it was allowed that day. They let me get away with it. My Puma shoes, like Joe, you know, the white.
Oh, nice.
With the green Puma. And I got a standing ovation in homeroom in 8th grade. True. This is all true. And
the first of many.
Well, yeah, but the only one for a Jets Super Bowl win, okay? So you guys tried and were great.
Yeah, I know. Hand up. Sorry about that.
No. But the point is, and then of course by then it was not only the Jets, it was the AFL. This is our friggin' league, And then when the Chiefs won the next year, made it 2 versus 2 in Super Bowls before the merger, it was, hey, we throw the ball. We're more interesting. And it was kind of the 60s anyway. But that's the Jets. My dad passed in 2013, which is all good. I smile every time the Jets win, not because I'm not happy too, but my brother lives out in ski country in Idaho, and my dad, like I said, it's close to 10 years, but I know he would be happy. I'm always pleased, not that you guys were too young, when I run into a Shea Stadium Jet. Even like Joe Klecko, who's going into the Hall of Fame now, he played both. Wesley Walker. If you started your career at Shea Stadium, you have a different mark with me because, by then I was professional. Dad gave up the seats when they moved up to New Jersey, not because we didn't like it. His boys weren't home anymore. It's a long answer, but you could see it's in my blood. So,
love it.
And of course, the first time I met Joe, he was doing color one year on Monday Night Football, Mark and Nick in '85. He comes up to me, and this is Joe, as you well know him, sticks out his hand and goes, Chris Berman. I was at a game like at the Orange Bowl or something, one of the games. I feel like I've known you all my life. I said, hold on, Joe. No, you feel like it. I've known you all my life. He goes, what? I said, if you played 70 games, injury, I don't know, at Shea Stadium, I was at 65 of them. He goes, you were? And so
that's amazing.
Been friends ever since.
Perfect. Which I assume had to make, it was 2018. They had a 50th anniversary dinner celebration for that team, which you got to host. I assume that had a special little place in your heart. Do you have any big memories from that night, being able to host the 50th anniversary?
It was an honor to be asked, Nick, and it was an honor to be among the guys, many of whom I've gotten to meet through the years, and they had pretty good attendance at it. I think we lost Jerry this past year, right? Didn't we? Or Jerry Philbin? But I got to speak with him quite a bit. I talked with Johnny Sample's son quite a bit. Johnny was a renegade cornerback, like one of those that couldn't play in the NFL anymore, and he was the outspoken. Joe was Joe, right? And of course, Joe and John Maynard. And I've gotten to know John Schmidt, the center, who I'm sure you've got. Schmitty, the best, right?
Schmitty's the best. And like he would come in, and it was always one of those things. Like as soon as if you ever came out to practice, as soon as he stepped on the grass, it was a straight beeline right to me. He's like, the centers, we got to stick together, we got to be together. And like
he's a great guy. And so a few members of the line were back. Pete Lamons, the tight end, who I said, is that the true story? They were looking at game film the week of the Super Bowl, early in the week in Miami, I think already. And he stood up in front of the film projector, right, in January 1969. This is urban legend. And said, Coach, you better shut that thing off. And Weeb Eubank, what? Coach, if you show us any more, they were looking at the Colts or whatever, we're going to be overconfident. And I went, oh. I'd read that. He said, yeah, it's kind of how it happened. Even if it didn't, I'm going with it. So it was a treat. And just even though it was, the metal, the new stadium, obviously, just seeing 16-7 up on the board, like outside of the nice place where we had the dinner was very cool. Very, very, very cool.
Love it.
Awesome. So not just that team, but in our runs, Rex, the Rel Revis, the Brickishaw, some of the guys that we had, Nick, obviously, some of your favorite memories from those couple years, because, we didn't make it to the Super Bowl. We were damn close, but just, the cast of characters we had, the Hard Knocks episodes, I thought that was like, it's a show within itself. And those 2 years were just an incredible run and something, we've obviously never forgotten. But do you have anything that really stands out from our 2 years together, in those little runs we had?
Well, I look back at some of the players, and you mentioned, with with Nick and the Brickashaw and the Brickashaw house, and Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame.
Faneca.
Right at the end, at the end, and I'm sure he and Darrelle Revis will probably go in this year. I can't imagine, but that's not the point. Was if you were a Jet fan, and every now and then the Jets rise up. Coach Mancini with a couple of those guys who drafted Revis, for example, made the playoffs. But for you guys, as I look back now, 10 years, I have specific memories, but as I look back 10, 12 years at that run, 13, it was typical Jets fashion. And that, of course, New England's in the division. So, but if you just take a step back, all right, we're the wild card. All right, we've already not made it easy for ourselves, even though it was Belichick, Brady. I get it, right? It's not like, how could you not beat him out? That's not the point. Okay, the Jets are going to do all this on the road. Really? They don't care, And then the first year with the second game with the Chargers, right, out there in San Diego. And that was like, and they had a really good record. They might have lost two.
They were number one offense, number one defense in the league.
Right.
We started watching film early in the week. I swear to God, and I never told anybody this, maybe other than like Shoddy, but I was like, holy, this is the best football team I've ever seen. What the hell are we going to do?
Well, you made such an impression that you eventually had LT and Cromartie come over, right? So,
right.
But winning out there, it was like, damn, these guys are. And then here you go, in the title game, lead it into you. It didn't like 98 leaded Denver for Parcells' team, and Denver was great. Obviously, they were like 14, So, man, what more? You're a rookie. What more can we ask from the Jets who showed such heart? And then the next year, you'd be Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Like, okay, so all right, and now it's Pittsburgh. This is like the royalty of the AFC, and you made the comeback at Pittsburgh. You guys play. It was a Jets gritty. It's like you wanted your football team to be, and I'm not blowing smoke. It's 12 years ago, and it was for a Jet fan. It was exactly the way it was supposed to be, especially getting rid of the Colts and the Patriots like that. And it was damn. And
that's cool.
Who knows what would have happened moving forward? It's a pretty tall mountain to climb. Those three games that almost all three of them. You had really good player. Rex, of course, came in right year 1 and 2. We have him now. He's our guy now.
I love it. I love seeing Rex on there.
That's great.
He loved you guys, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Do you so we were talking earlier, we did our intro earlier, and we were talking nicknames because I love nicknames. Big fan of them. Mainly because I'm not smart enough to remember people's names, so I have to make up a nickname just to remind myself. Do you have any? You're so fantastic with nicknames. Do you have any memorable ones from our time with the Jets that maybe you used multiple times as a nickname that you came up with?
Well, as I refreshed my mind, just a little while ago at the roster, I didn't go through every name and everything, and I'm embarrassed that you made us so proud that I should have had more. The Brickashaw house, Ferguson. That's okay. The kickers, didn't you have Feely and Folk, right? With it,
Feely and Folk,
when they split. So the beauty is, and I'll get back to nicknames, is when it's a pass or a kick and it's highlights, I have time to sing,
Yeah.
And so for Feely, I went from Tommy with the Who, see me, Feely. You could do it on a 48-yard field goal. You could do it and have fun with it going through the upper. Nick Folk, now if he missed, I didn't say it often, what the Folk, right? So, but my God, he's still kicking. He's about as accurate as ever. And and you didn't want to do that anyway. We did have my man Damian Woody in there, right? And so speaks for itself. There was no nickname needed there. I wrote. Let me see. So, and you already had Sanchez, Mark. I mean, you were, a year or two in. You were already, and I can't split your name. I can't say, man, he's good as gold. You can't split the name. I mean, you can't.
Okay.
I make the rules. I know. Didn't he have a big playoff year? Dustin Keller, your tight end. Didn't he have?
Yeah.
Didn't he?
He was good with Favre.
The name. I went, wait a minute. Why am I thinking he had a couple of big?
Damn, Nick.
Well,
no, Favre put him on the map. Favre was the one. Like he was.
He was good with Favre.
He was He was dumping the ball to Dustin like no one's business.
Well, all we are is Dustin the Wind Keller, right?
Oh, so good.
And then I actually didn't know. I looked up the rosters of those two teams. I didn't know that Lito, one of my favorite ones, came over one year, right? Lito Shepherd. Eagles. And that, I sing, right? If he took up, I don't know that he did it as a Jet. With the Eagles, he had quite a few pick sixes, right? He was a good player and good kid, good guy. So that's, again, I steal it from Boss Skaggs, which I've now used for Debo a generation later. But, whoa. And part of that song is One More for the Road. So if it's a 50-yard pick six, you could sing the whole way. And so there's some. I probably should have had more, but there's something.
See, I never picked up on the rules and then the timing of them. But I went back and looked up some of my favorites. Chuck, New Kids on the Knoblock. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Well,
I mean, that was money. Just nails.
Keep going up. The baseball one. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's some great ones. The other football one that I loved was the Harry Belafonte Deo, where he said, "Jake, daylight come and you got a Delhomme."
That was
all time.
So the football, daylight come and you got the Delhomme. I mean, I even had John Fox one year. I think it might have been at the Super Bowl. I interviewed him when they almost beat New England that one year. And he looked right in the camera and answered one of my questions. I said, so have you thought, I don't remember the question, Mark. He goes, hey, daylight come, you got a Delhomme. Like this is the head coach of the NFL. We could sing awesome. With some quarterbacks, like Mark Bolger was, Ray Bolger was the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. So if Mark went back to pass, I could only find a receiver. Or Elvis Gerback caught in a trap if he was.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So quarterbacks and kickers, linemen, unless you picked up the ball, I mean, it was hard in prime time to sneak in. One of my favorite was a Jet before you guys, Curtis, my favorite Martin, of course, which was TV show for us old farts. My favorite Martian. One that's still good now because he's offensive coordinator with the Chiefs. Eric Bieniemy played with the Chargers and had a nice career. And Eric sleeping with Bieniemy, and he goes,
"That's good." Said, who helps you with these? Do you have a crew? You got a team working on these?
No,
this is all you.
Yeah, well, mostly. But if someone at work, somebody sends in a list back in the old days, like baseball in the 80s, and I laugh, I use it. Maybe, a beer in sometimes helps, but I don't sleep
with the creative juices flowing.
Well, I don't sleep with the rosters, guys. That's how rumors start.
On fire. I love it.
So obviously, I mean, highlights are there's so many and they're so awesome. Do you have one highlight that stands out to you as like, this was my favorite highlight that I've seen and called? Is there one that you could pick out of all of them, or is there just too many?
Ooh. I mean, I don't know if I have one, but the key is doing them like they're live. If you're doing a highlight show, because don't assume that everyone saw it, especially back then. Right. There are only 3 games on. Here's prime time. We got 14 games. You never saw it. So don't assume that the viewer knows even now that he's going to make a 360 and keep going. Do it like it's happening at that time. So for that, a Favre play, a Barry Sanders run. That's really why I started doing whoop. I mean, that was really Barry.
That's awesome. I mean, that's been, copied so many times. I've done it in broadcasts where I'm like, ooh, look at that dude, whoop. And it's, so iconic. But I got to tell you, I used to watch you and Tom Jackson on Sunday nights all through high school, junior high. My mom lived right by both schools, so I'd go stay at her house and like at the end of the weekend, so it's easy for Monday morning just to walk to school. And I could not wait for Sunday nights to watch all these dudes and listen to the commentary, and then to eventually do it at ESPN with Booger, with Jonathan Vilma and Kevin Nagandi when we do college highlights. I can't explain to you how much that meant to me, thinking like, damn, Chris Berman used to do it like in this studio. This is awesome. Like trying to live up to something, just so you know, and I'm sure you knew already, but what an incredible career. And we just appreciate your time with us today. We got some rapid fire questions for you on your way out.
But thank you. Thank you for that. And you mean Jonathan Vilma from the Flintstones.
That's good.
I think at the Jets games, didn't they, when he had a sack, I think they played it over the PA. Vilma!
Vilma!
Did.
That's great.
Well, look, Tommy and I remain best friends. Tommy Jackson, just an aside, that rapid fire. But it wasn't that we did the show, because back then, 80s, 90s, even early, 2000, you only saw, like I said, 3 games, right? So it was a show I would watch, because if you like football, this is tomorrow's newspaper.
Yeah.
And we could do a 5 or 6 minute highlight if it was 47-42, and it was 3-0. They weren't 6 minutes. So there were 6 seconds. So it was fun. It's still my favorite thing to do. I'm glad we can still do it on ESPN Plus now with Booger.
It's really cool. Also, we got to get you to talk to your guy, Adam Sandler. We need him on the podcast. We told Rex to reach out. He's been in his movies. You've been in his movies. We know he's a big Jets guy. That's our one big ask. You get one big ask from everybody.
Let me work on it. He Jet fan, and I believe grew up in New Hampshire. I'm pretty sure. Hey, you made him happy. I don't know why he wouldn't come on. We'll find him.
All right, baby. Go, Nick. You start.
All right, I'll start off. All right, so these are just really quick. First thing popped to your mind. Nothing crazy. We won't try to trick you or anything. All right, would you rather Peter Luger's or Delmonico's?
Well, I think you got to go Peter Luger's. It's a New York staple, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Staple.
I love it. Okay, if you're at a resort on vacation, you walk out to the pool. It's crowded. There's some babes walking around. I'm setting the scene for you. Are you like toe in the water, just kind of dip in the shallow end? Or are you just right off the diving board, Hamilton from Sandlot, freaking cannonball in the deep end? Which one are you?
Well, the problem, I'm more of a deep end guy, but it would be a belly flop, and that wouldn't impress anybody, except that I would have a red stomach, not from sunburn. So I love it. So deep end by choice. If the pool wasn't crowded, I'd give it a shot. If it was crowded, don't need to make a scene.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, when you're sitting down to watch something, are you a reality show guy, like a Real Housewives kind of guy, or documentaries you want to watch,
Well, I'm a history major.
There we go.
So reality show, I don't learn anything, okay?
You learn everything you already know about people.
Well, and maybe what I'm about to learn from them, I don't want to know. And so a documentary for sure, whether it's sports, history, deep sea diving. When you can learn something.
Very good.
All right. So would you rather go to the Met or the Guggenheim?
because I'm old enough to remember when the Guggenheim was new and the Met was older, but Guggenheim is hardly new. I still think the Met, you're not talking about the Mets playing. I know that. I know what the question is. So, I mean, we like the Mets. We got no problem with the Mets.
No problem.
The Mets, I think. That's a good question, though.
Okay, when you go on vacation, are you going somewhere to ski for cold weather, or are you going tropical beaches, warm weather?
Well, I live in Maui, about 11 weeks a year. So,
Yeah, baby.
and I skied till my third knee surgery and
Oh, wow.
about 20 years ago. And the doctor said, do you love skiing or do you like skiing? And when I like skiing, he goes, you're done. That was easy. But
That's great.
Maui, I mean, beach anyway. Yeah. Good question.
Great.
Can't beat Maui. All right, last one. Then we'll get you out of here. Empire State Building or the Statue of Liberty?
I mean, they both scream New York, but I'm going to give you, I'll answer it. But my favorite building is the Chrysler Building in New York because that was the tallest building, I believe, at the time, like 100 years ago. And it still is really cool when you look at it. Like they built one like that then. Yeah. I mean, the Statue of Liberty speaks for America and everybody coming here. So as far as for America, the Statue of Liberty says it all. And it's a gift from France.
History major.
So, well, I don't remember everything, but I remember a couple of things.
Do you remember how many points on the crown?
No, I don't. How many?
7 for all 7 continents to welcome the entire world.
That's a bad loss by me.
No.
One. So, Statue of Liberty on what it means to the United States and really when the world was on the same page, or a lot of it was,
Sure.
But the Chrysler Building, I still look for that every time I come in. That's fair enough. I know I dodged the answer, but I that's a cool building.
The best part of the rapid fire is there's no wrong answer. So
I like this. Why didn't I have teachers like this?
Thank you so much for taking the time. It was great talking with you. Really appreciate you taking the time to spend a little bit with us. Hopefully we didn't eat up too much of your time. But it was really an honor for, I think, both Mark and I to be able to sit and chat with you.
Well, you guys bled and sweated for the New York Jets, and I wish you luck with these careers, Mark. I already told you that game in the Buffalo-Miami game, you guys were great. Nick, the Ring of Honor. I mean, you guys represent the Jets, and it's an honor to be on with you guys. It's good to wear green. It's good to visit with you guys. I appreciate the love, so the love goes right back. And
awesome.
We can all. It's a word we can spell. Jets. Jets.
Yeah, baby. I love it.
WynnBet is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas to online sports betting and casino play. Get in on all your favorite teams, players, and sports. From boosted parlays to live in-game odds on every major sport, they have what you need to win. Jets fans in New Jersey, sign up today and use promo code XJETS. And after placing your first $100 wager, you will receive $100 to bet with. You will receive a $50 free bet and a $50 casino bonus. Again, the promo code is XJETS. Offer subject to change. Offer only available in New Jersey. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 or older to participate. Please visit WynnBet.com to view welcome offers available in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia.
All right, welcome back to The Exchange, presented by WynnBet with myself and Mark Sanchez. Chris Berman might be the best person ever.
Wow.
Like the amount of history he has of the NFL, just reading highlight, like having so much from starting out in the 80s. I mean, obviously there's probably plenty of people who've been doing it longer from like the 70s, but he made it famous, I think. And it was awesome.
No doubt. I think the catchy phrases, tagging nicknames to players, And I loved what he said about making it feel like the highlight was live for the person.
That was unbelievable.
Watching. It was almost like, and then also just noticing he went back and looked at the rosters when we were on the team. He wore green for the show, obviously a Jets podcast, but like the guy's very thoughtful and intentional, you know? And so when he mentioned that about the highlights, that every time it's got to be live, I just think of like Bruce Springsteen, like he's going to sing Born to Run. And like somebody in that audience that night has never heard him do it live. And he's got to do it. If he just mails it in, then that person is absolutely crushed, you know? And he rips through those highlights, but every time it's somebody out there watching has never seen this play before. I got to make this play come to life. And I think just him and that feeling that responsibility to the viewer is so intentional and so rare. That was really impressive.
I feel like that should be a staple of like they talk about like broadcast boot camps and everything. Like write that one down. That needs to go in a notebook.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, make it, if you're doing highlights, make it feel like it's live. I loved it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But this time of the year, you know, it's always tricky. You start camp, you know, wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and now it's like the worst day ever. I
think it's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, by the way.
What'd I say?
I don't know. You tell me. Everyone loves Raymond.
Okay, we're going to bring that back up.
I'm sorry, dude. You're like Michael Scott in The Office. You mess up all the sayings.
I said bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
You said wide-eyed.
Fair enough.
My God, I'm so glad we did this. And it's on film.
I hate you. I quit.
Oh my God, you're my favorite. No, I know what you're saying. You get into camp and you're like all giddy, like the first day of school, you know? Your boys are there, you're fired up, everything's trending in the right direction. You know, you're going to have this awesome season, you're going to make your Super Bowl run. And at the end of the year, I mean, you and I know it, there's 31 teams that are pissed, you know? One team's happy. And everybody else feels like a complete failure, whether you lost in the Super Bowl, lost in a championship game, didn't make the playoffs. But you know, this day is essentially like, you know, the last day of the season. You go do your exit physicals, you start to come up with your off-season plan, and you realize that team is going to have so much turnover, whether you guys were good, bad, or somewhere in between. I mean, there's going to be 30 plus guys that are gone and 30 new guys in there potentially. So it's,
I think that's the crazy part.
It's a weird day.
You don't think about that because you spent, you know, all of spring, all of August, you know, all through the season with the same people, and then like that in 4 months it's going to be a whole new set of people, and so it's crazy. But you know, it is what it is, and you move on, and you know, now after as soon as Super Bowl is over, everyone's back to 0-0, and you start a new season. So
no doubt,
I'm with it.
All right, that's it for me and Nick from The Exchange. Be sure to rate, review, follow, and listen on the iHeartRadio app or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. That's The Exchange. We'll see you soon.